Hello, welcome back to Squashwarp Missions in Kerbal Space Program. I'm Luke, and I'm just admiring my handiwork from yesterday. Yes, was it yesterday? Whatever day it was. Last time I recorded. This is the Archmage Interplanetary Spacecraft. It's just missing its drive section, and we need to refuel it. Thank you, music. I don't remember, I don't think I recorded this last time, that you can turn on the interior overlay and get a nice view of inside this spacecraft. Get the laboratory, and you can kind of see into the habitation modules. I don't think I have all the IVAs installed correctly. And you can look into the agroponics lab, and these habitats here, and just get a general sense of how much habitation space they have. You can even see the escape section has seats. Anyway, I never used the internal overlay, so just trying that out. But we don't have much to do with this today. I'm going to work on refueling it, and that's what we're going to switch to next. So see you there. Sure enough, the vampire is done, so we're going to retract these drills and fly it up to the space station. I'll see you there. Whoop. Extend. No. Extend the landing legs. I did not mean to retract the landing legs. I meant to retract the drill. Okay. Alright, now we'll proceed. No, don't fall over. Don't fall over. Stop the ISRU. Okay, now we go figure out how to do our orbit. Okay, docked. Time for fuel transfers, and then I think we're going to transfer one of these. Which one? This one is full, so this one's going to go back to Kerbin. I'll fast forward through all of this. Sorry, it's a lot of silence, but the tanking stuff, I'm either going to skip entirely or I'm going to do a fast forward version. So enjoy. Okay, fuel transferred. Time to land for more refueling. Well, we landed in the rocks, but hopefully we can still mine. Yep, everything's working. We'll check back later. Okay, now it's time to transfer this fuel tank back to Kerbin to rendezvous with the Archmage. Here we go. I can't find antenna helper. I don't know what happened to antenna helper. That's weird. Okay, well, I'll look at my mod install later. Okay, anyway, carrying on. Tanker docked. Now we can begin refueling. I gotta find all the little fuel tanks inside the escape craft, so that'll take me a minute. But, I love this ship. This is working out well. Okay, here we go. Okay, refueling complete. We transferred monopropellant into the tugs, and we only used a little bit of the fuel that we had here. Well, actually, hang on, there was already some missing, so let's just pump that out so we can keep track of where that is. Anyway, we're going to leave the tanker on station until we've used up almost all of its propellant, and then we will send it back to get refueled again, perhaps at Minmus, but perhaps elsewhere, depending on when our launches line up, because we've got a new ISRU under construction. So let's go to the Space Center and see what's happening next. These three are content to keep getting this ship ready and getting everything set up. Meanwhile, is there any science I can be doing? Like, look at all the science. I can do a telescope observation. Telescope observation while in space near Kerbin. Above the influence of atmospheric turbulence, the telescope is capable of reaching much more consistently high resolutions at a wide field of view than possible from the ground. Until you get orders from the Kerbal Astronomical Society, use the time to split a few double stars, which you hadn't got yet. Okay. Let's transmit that 9 science. We should have plenty of electric charge on here. Yeah. Gravity scan we've already done. Everything else should already have been done. Plant growth experiment. Well, we'll do that when we have more Kerbals. Plant growth experiment while in space near Kerbin. The plants grow very slowly, if at all. It may be far too soon for any noteworthy results to appear. Let's reset that, and we'll do that when we have crew aboard. Okay. I'm not even sure which one that's from. Is that this? Yeah. It's the Garden Hydroponics Cupola. And we're not using any fertilizer yet. Yeah. Okay, great. All right. Back to the Space Center. Actually, I realized what I forgot to do. And they're talking over me. What I forgot to do is that we need to weigh, mass, whatever the right phrase is for space, the spacecraft, which means I'm going to make a quick save, and then I'm going to undock the tanker, and I'm going to undock the capsule, and then we're going to go to Kerbal Engineer, Show Engineer, Vessel, and it's going to tell me that it masses 63.3 tons. I think I'm reading that right. 63.267 kilograms. Or 1,000 kilograms. Okay, F1. All right, I've taken a picture of that. That is the mass that we have to push to Duna and back with our drive stage. Let me just reload so that we don't have to redock again. And then I need to go design the drive stage, which I'm going to stop recording and go do that. That's going to take me a decent amount of time. So I'll start the recording again when that's done, and we can do the next thing. Look, Archmage and Manticore are right next to each other. They're gonna pass each other. And they're in a perfect position for me to launch. That's amazing. I could go to either one, or both. Anyway, I went away, I designed the launch, or the transfer stage, but first we have a different launch to do. This is the Vampire Lord ISRU craft. This is going to the moon, but it has to be refueled first. Here we go. Okay. It's got lots of little bits and bobs sticking out of it because it's massive. It needs radiators and solar panels and... oh god, the clouds are so pretty. It's launching on 2 skippers and a bunch of boosters that we just dropped. And it should have the Delta V to get into orbit, but not to get to the moon. We have to refuel it. But by launching it lighter, did we leave some of these empty? No. We launched it full. It just doesn't have the fuel to take off from Kerbin and go to the moon by itself. But once it gets to the moon, it can refuel itself. Well, that reminds me, I should actually check that there's ore on the moon. I forgot to look. The moon. Yeah. The concentrations aren't on the equator as much as I want, but this here, the Farside crater, is a great ore site. 6.9%. It's better at the Farside basin. So we'll keep that in mind. But we want a relatively equatorial region, so we'll aim for the Farside crater, but half the month it'll be in the dark, and I didn't think to put a nuclear reactor on this. That would have taken even more radiators. We also have a grabber attached to a extension thing that will enable us to refuel at asteroids too, if we ever need to do that. But mostly this is going to be landing on the moon or Minmus, getting huge amounts of fuel and bringing it back for orbiting tankers. I'm going to go up to 100 kilometers. There we go. Time warp. Deploy the solar panels. We've got a lot of solar panels on this thing. And I'll set up a rendezvous. We're going to the Archmage. I named it the Archmage before I realized that I find it very difficult to say the word Archmage. I've seen it written down so much, it never occurred to me that I would have trouble saying it. Alright, set as target. We're going there because there's a fuel tank there already. Let's just get into a circular orbit and then we'll worry about transferring. Okay, see you in a bit. This is going to be a pleasure to fly and to do stuff with because it has a Mark II probe core in it, which means that it is the most capable probe we have so far in terms of maneuver holds. So I'm just telling it to point at the target, which makes docking much faster and easier. I think I'm going to be fine with those solar panels. But that's why I quick save, in case of stupid accidents like that. We have 466 units of liquid fuel and 457 meters per second. So we need to triple that, I think, to be able to go to the moon. Well, to land on the moon, we need significantly more, actually. So we'll see if I have enough fuel in the tank that's here, and if not, we can ship a tanker from Minmus. Once this thing is operating at the moon, it will be very effective, but first we have to get it there. And I decided to have it launch itself, rather than build a giant launcher that could launch it full. It launched itself, used up its own propellant, and now we just have to refuel it. Makes more work for me in terms of shipping fuel back and forth, but it means less time spent constructing a large craft and less money spent on it. Giant craft docked. Let's take not everything that's left, because this needs to also go to the moon. So I'm going to quick save here, and then I'm going to do some fuel experimenting, and I'll be back with you. I've been sitting here trying to figure out how to get both of these craft to the moon with just the fuel that they have, and I just finally realized that I can just dock them together, and then fly them both to the moon together, and then they have enough. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, 1457 is not really enough to go to the moon. It's enough to go to the moon. It's not enough to land on the moon. But I can't really do anything about that. We're going to get in orbit, and then if we have to send another tanker out there to make it possible for us to land, that's fine. As soon as we can land, we'll make all the fuel back. So I'm going to plan a moon transfer and do a moon transfer, and I'll see you after. I said to warp somewhere, and instead of warping there, it warped past it, so I'm going to have to reload that. We made it to the moon. We're in a 30 by 31 kilometer orbit. We don't have the Delta V to land, so I'll send out another tanker. And I need to check something about my connection, because I don't think I remember to put a transmitter on this thing. Again, I keep doing that. So let's undock and see how the communication is with the lander. And it seems to be fine via the relay. Let's switch to the other one. And we'll put this one on a slightly higher orbit, just so that they don't run into each other. There we go. Now we will not be very likely to run into each other, at least not until I can get some fuel transferred. Okay, next thing. All right, now we've got another aircraft. I just realized there's a design flaw with one of the components of this mission, but it's more a narrative design flaw than an actual problem. Anyway, we want to be in chase cam. I'm going to turn SAS on, throttle up. Jebediah Kerman and Joffrey Kerman are going to go on an aircraft mission that I'm going to fast forward through mostly, but we are going to the cold ocean of Kerbin. So here we go. Okay, we kind of overshot. We're going very fast. Let's get less than Mach 3. Are those icebergs? Did they really put icebergs on Kerbin with parallax? That's really cool. Let me go back and see if I can find them. So we're going to a spot in the cold ocean, so let's take some science observations. We can do an atmosphere analysis. It's stowed, so we can't run it. Crew report, though, we can do. We can upload that. Okay. This way. Yeah, there they are. Let's go check out those, iceberg things. And actually, if we slow down and I save, we can attempt to... Oh look, there's the moon. We can attempt to run the atmosphere analysis while I open the cargo bay briefly. You run atmospheric analysis, recording various measurements. Oh, look at it. That's boring. Okay, keep. Oh wait, no, we don't want to keep it. We want to send it. Review report, transmit, close the cargo bay. Anyway, back to what we were doing. Yep, icebergs. Let's check them out. You can kind of see them loading in, but I'm sure there's settings that could change that, but I haven't touched the parallax settings because I figure it has figured out something smart. But yep, there they are. That is really cool. We need a little more velocity here. We're looking specifically for that spot because we're doing ocean science from a specific location. And we're going to land in the water. So I'm 12 kilometers away. I'll fast forward and we'll be right there. Okay. We're close enough, like, it doesn't have to be exactly on this spot. So let's bring it down here-ish. We can be within a kilometer of it, that's fine. Okay, here we go. Let's see what kind of landing speed this thing can get me. Let's get under 50. Can we get under 40? Yep. Okay. Now this is gonna freak me out again. Delete custom waypoint. Because it's another ocean experiment, so I'm gonna be freaked out. But it is what it is. Let's make a named quick save. Oh, cannot quick save while moving over the surface. Okay. There we go. Quick save 73, sure. Okay, alright, science. So we've never been to the cold ocean. The instrument starts sparking and shorts out, yes. We're going to transmit that. We'll wait on the mystery goo. Atmospheric pressure. Transmit that. Temperature. Transmit that. We could be keeping them, but it's kind of too hard to do that. Electric charge is out. Let's sit for a bit and regenerate electric charge. I've got a couple of solar panels. Boy, we regen really slowly, so we'll just keep the crew report. And atmospheric pressure, that's nothing new. Joffrey, go ahead and take an EVA report and a surface sample. Keep. And now you have to do the dangerous thing, which is to get up and don't fall in the water. Good, okay. And now store experiments. Take data, store experiments. And now we're going to do an EVA report flying. We're going to do a flying EVA report by jumping, and then we're going to grab, we're going to board. Okay. Let's turn off this engine. Now we get to the real science. So, nothing to be seen down there. We're in deep water. In fact, we're over... There's more than a kilometer of depth beneath us, which is freaking me out. But it's time to do the experiment. So, oh, cannot quick save. But stop moving over the surface. There we go. Alright. Open the cargo bay doors. They open downward, and our science experiment is submerged. We're going to try to click that. Try to hang on. No, that's mystery goo. Robodobodine, there we go. Has no electric charge. That's a problem. Let's turn off SAS and regen some. Let's control from here. And we do need to wait to get some electric charge back. Give me the battery. And not that kind of time warp, the other kind of time warp. No. There we go. This kind of time warp. The kind that freezes time. Why aren't we getting any electric charge? This is weird. What is getting electric charge then? Let's put some in there. In. That'll have to be enough. It's running down instead of up. Well, well, we'll run the experiment anyway. This is a good test to see what happens with our electric charge. We'll quick save, and then we will decouple. All right, down we go. We're going to start descending very quickly because we are full of ore. I hate it, but this is what we are doing. We're going to regenerate electric charge because we do have some solar panels. So we don't need to do this on Carbon, but the point is this: we're trying to design something that could go to the oceans of Eve. Now, we're descending pretty quickly, so I'm going to deploy the parachutes, which work like totally normally underwater. So we're going to descend under parachute down to the bottom. And I'm going to sit here being terrified while I fast forward for you. We're arriving. This is the first test, is how does it handle the impact? It vibrated a lot. That was interesting. But we survived just fine. But it does say we're splashed. Why doesn't it say landed? Well, that's weird. Okay, let me experiment. So what enabled us to be landed in the other craft that isn't the case right now? Let's jettison one of these ore tanks. Let's do it with this one. Let's remove from symmetry and jettison tank contents. Okay, this one is now empty. So that one we can't roll at all. I put a reaction wheel in here, but it doesn't seem to be doing anything. We have a reaction wheel. We have electric charge. Jettison tank contents. Okay. There we go. There we go. We were just too heavy to roll over. Hang on. We got it for a sec. We got it for a second. Let me just roll. Okay, temperature and pressure readings suggest today is a good time for flying as any. Okay, seismic scan. That one didn't count. Temperature and pressure. There we go. And mystery goo. Okay. I think I did it. But that is interesting that it is difficult to get landed science with this craft. Maybe if it had landing legs, it might be easier. Keep this experiment. Yeah, keep all of these experiments. Okay, Okay, all of that is kept. Now, how rollable is it? For example, if we ended up in a situation where we got to Eve and we were in a dry area and there was no life to be found, could we roll our way? Kind of, but we sort of turn. We would need another battery on the top, I think, to make it roll symmetrically. I tried to put wheels on it, but I couldn't get them to fit inside the tiny fairing. I don't want to send something bigger, but I guess that could help. Maybe we need to send something bigger. Experimentation will have to continue. In the meantime, we've done our science. Now we can return to the surface. Maybe. We'll see. That was all of the ore jettisoned. And I'll fast forward you ahead for that. I've cut out most of the ascent because literally nothing is happening. It's like we're going up at less than a meter per second, and even time accelerated, this is taking forever, so cut most of that out, but we're almost there. Getting close. I don't really need to be doing this. Like, I can just hit recover at any time, but I don't know, I feel like we need to get it to the surface, even though the plane can't recover it because I don't have a grabber or anything. You can see the plane. That's really cool. If I'd aimed it just perfectly, we could have gotten it back into the cargo bay and recovered it, but I don't want to fly with something that might jostle around inside the cargo bay, so that could be bad. So we're gonna leave this here for a boat to recover, and in the meantime, we're gonna try to fly home. So there it is, been recovered. Let's aim toward the Kerbal Space Center and let's see if we can get back. Alright, first question is, can we get out of the water? Because we might not have the lift potential. Oh, no, no. Turn the engine off, turn the engine off. Okay, we got diverted. Let's try that again. I don't, like, it's easier to take planes off if they have, like, canards in the front. Let's do less thrust. We need to get going up to like 40 or 50 meters per second to really... Oh, let me close the cargo bay. Duh. Stay pointed. Okay, hang on. Oh, these waves are so cool. Okay, let's get pointed into the waves. Maybe we should go with the waves. The waves are going that way, so let's point that way. And let's try to take off in the direction that the waves are going. Okay, getting a little more promising, getting a little more promising. Come on. Come on, we made a submarine take off from the water. Surely this plane can do it. Turn up the authority on these. That's too much. That's just killing our... Okay, let's try transferring fuel around. Fuel in here. This might make us unstable when we take off, but... And actually we can do even better and get it all in there. Make the nose really light. Okay, here we go. And if this doesn't work, we can just recover. Because there's no reason we can't just recover. Whoop. We don't want to be pointed right at our submarine. Alright, one more try. Well, we're making a big splash. Every occasionally we get a little hydroplane moment. But as soon as we hit another wave, we lose all of our forward momentum. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Okay, okay, now let's transfer that fuel back. In. In. And stop. Okay, that should make us relatively stable. Oh, okay. Tough work. But we did it. Let's go up. And we go home. I may have gone a little too high. But that's okay. We're gonna fall back down now. Our thing switched into orbit mode because we went so high. And we almost knocked out Joffrey. Let's be careful. And we're on the ground, we can recover the plane, and then we can go recover the submarine from the tracking station. Whoa, camera moved. And we'll see what we got. Should push us over to the next science tech thing. Sure enough, even just the science we sent back is enough for the next tech thing, which are all 550 now. So we could get improved nuclear power, get more fission reactor, I was going to say. They're all fission reactors. We can get fuel systems for nuclear devices. Very heavy rocketry will start getting us very large, I think 3.75 meter. Yeah, this will start getting us to 3.75 meter rocket stages. This will get us the 3.75 meter fuel tanks. Nanolathing is a bunch of structural stuff, as well as some colonization things. We already have those. Experimental aerodynamics is the one I'm eyeing. It gives us the Mark III spaceplane parts, especially this Big S Delta wing. And the Big S wing strake, which is apparently the best mass to fuel storage wing part. And a bunch of cargo bay parts that I don't recognize. I think these might be inspired by the Starship, in which case I probably won't use them much, but just because I don't want to build that, really. But I'll see what they are. Anyway, these are aircraft parts, and then there's a max diameter for the fairing bases upgrade for procedural fairings, which I haven't been using very much. Been using the KW fairings. These are heavy lift fans and some VTOL engines from Near Future Avionics, I think, or Aeronautics. I keep saying it that way. The ion drive, the ion propulsion, xenon containers. So we could get the stock ion drive as well if we want to send out probes with more delta V, which we might want to do. Better scanners, better probe cores, batteries, capacitors, the RTG, fuel cells, advanced solar arrays, high temperature heat radiators, and then the colonization parts. Caribou pieces, habitation modules, inflatable centrifuge. Ooh, this is a massive deep space habitation module that could be interesting for building the space hotel or something. But I think I'm going to go with experimental aerodynamics so that we can unlock the size 3, because we have the Mark III cockpit, but I don't feel like I can do anything with it without the large wings and these fuel tanks and stuff. So let's get that. Looking at this and then checking my mod install, I've just come to discover that I don't actually have near future propulsion installed, so I'll be fixing that in the future. I also wonder what happened to antenna helper. Why is it not working? I still have it installed. I don't know where it went. Anyway, these problems will either get resolved or they won't. I liked having antenna helper. I don't know where it went. Anyway, moving on. Okay, we recovered the ocean thing, and now I'm checking on my refinery. And it's not quite done. I'll fast forward until it is. We've done everything we need to do on the surface, and now we're going to take off. Burn north. Directly north. And I'll fast forward or skip through this. Oh, antenna helper's back. And it's not sideways. I have no idea where it went last time. Okay, well, anyway, great. Hooray. Moving on. All right, we're here. Fuel transfers. And with that, we've actually completed filling up this tanker. So let's send this tanker on its merry way back to Kerbin. This is actually a terrible time to launch back to Kerbin. Let's warp until our orbit is inclined in such a way as to not send us further from Kerbin before we go towards it. It's going to take a little while. We might end up building another craft by the time this happens, but I'll do this and I'll see you when it's done. I warped the time. We finished our research. We're almost done with our next launch, but I'm going to build a maneuver to go back to Kerbin now. All right. Well, when life gives you a moon, when life gives you a moon encounter, proceed to mess it up by pressing the wrong button at the wrong time. Well, our maneuver might be toast, but we'll perform it anyway and see what happens, I guess. Where are we? Focus on vessel. What did we just do? I think we're going to be okay. Let's just perform the maneuver as is and see if we can correct it. Basically, I was trying to transfer back to Kerbin and I got a moon encounter anyway, and we're trying to go to the moon. That's the point. So let's just do this maneuver, such as it is now that I've accidentally thrusted. Okay, we're going to fly to the edge of Minmus's sphere of influence, and then we're going to set an alarm for the moon's sphere of influence, and then I'm going to go launch the craft that just finished in the VAB, and then we'll switch back to this, and everything will work out just fine. That's the way it's going to go. All right, we have another fuel tanker, which I've been waiting to launch because we didn't have anything that needed it yet, but now we're going to start using these, so I'm going to fast forward through this fuel tanker launch. We're going to go to Archmage Interplanetary Mothership. Don't switch to it. Set it as target. And I'll see you up there when we're docked. Here we go. Okay, and we're back to this craft with time to spare. So let's finish getting into orbit, and then I'll do the rendezvous. One thing that I think is amazing about this install and this computer and running this game is I have a spacecraft this big, and my physics time is in the green. Like, that has never happened. Like, I mean, 10 years of playing Kerbal Space Program, and this was always yellow. Like, this is just, it's like, is this what everybody else was experiencing? Anyway, we're drifting a little bit. There we go. Come on in. Could have docked here, could have docked there. It doesn't matter. We're going to dock here. Oh, the sunrise. Turn off stability, and hopefully this will just connect. Good. Good. All right, now we got a fuel tank up here. One more launch, and that'll do us for today. This one is kind of a fuel tank plus docking node. It's just a stretched version of our Paladin booster with a small spacecraft on the top. It's going to eventually go to the moon, but for now it's just going to meet at Archmage like everything else. I haven't thought about how I'm going to dock this. I was going to use some of the fuel from in here, but honestly, we don't have that much left. So we could give up on trying to dock the whole thing. Just dock this thing with a tug. I'm thinking out loud here. This is the one that's going to the moon. This is supposed to be recovered back on Kerbin. The only reason to dock the whole thing would be to use some of this fuel. But like, compared to how much fuel like we're bringing on the tankers, it's not necessarily worth the headache that trying to dock this thing when it has no RCS is going to entail. So let's turn orbit radial in, maybe? And let me switch to a tug. You got fuel there? Where's the other tug? This one. You got fuel there, tug? Yes, you do. Undock. Not this one. Be radial in, remember? Radial in. No. Oh, there we go. There's the tug. Okay. Okay. Control from here. That docking port. Let's get pointed the way that I think up is up. Let's get pointed correctly. Come on. There we go. And head towards it. There we go. And head towards it with dispatch. Whoa, 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 whoa. Our craft jumped. Okay, don't time accelerate. I pressed time accelerate and the ship disappeared. This is going to be a big bump. Whoop. Yep, didn't work. I was trying to make it fast, but instead I just bumped. We need to caps lock this thing. It's got so much thrust power. It's really light and really maneuverable. There we go. That wasn't very lined up either. Oh well, good enough. No, we don't want to activate the engine. We want to decouple. So let's decouple. Come on. There we go. Now control from this side of the tug. Control from here. And we'll dock back where we were. And I need to pick a good docking port. Let's go this way. I'm going to fast forward through this. Now I'm not sure there was any point in coming here instead of just going to the moon like we originally planned. But I mean, we can always do that later. I kind of... It's time for me to stop playing, so I can figure this out tomorrow. But anyway, let's switch over to the other craft and retrieve it. And the Kerbal Space Center is right there, so let's see if we can get it to go relatively near this Kerbal Space Center. Homeward we go. Okay, I tried killing like a large amount of my orbital velocity to see what falling down... I don't know, I'm just doing an experiment. I quick saved first though. So now we're gonna land in the ocean not too far from the Space Center, which will hopefully get us more money. Let's time warp and face surface retrograde. Alright, retract the solar panels. And then as we get to the heating part of the atmosphere, I'm going to burn the engine. See if I can reduce our descent and save the engine. And if not, I can reload and do a normal return. But there's the Kerbal Space Center. We just get slightly more money the closer... Oh, no, there comes the overheating. Come on. You just get slightly more money. The closer you are to the Space Center, you get better recovery. Will this one get hurt when it falls? Will it fall over at all? No, because the SAS is on and I've got one of these stability things. Well, we'll recover it just like this. Sounds good. Normal recovery. It's bouncing. It's bouncing a lot. There we go. The recovery ship comes over and they're like, how do we put this on the boat if it's just pointing straight up and bouncing in the air? Anyway, I think that's it for today. So we're going to keep sending tanks and things. But today was the big fuel tanking episode. I feel like we're going to have another fuel tanking episode because the next thing we're going to finish is the Archmage Drive section. This thing is going to launch missing a lot of its fuel so that it can get off the pad. And then it's going to burn all the fuel it has getting up there. So this is a very large... this has a lot of fuel that is all going to be missing and need to be refilled. So I'll come up with some kind of strategy to share the gist of the refilling process, but we're just going to have those 3 tankers driving back and forth between the moon and Kerbin orbit and delivering all the fuel. So that's what's going to be happening. Anyway, thank you for joining. Hope you have a great time. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.